All right, we're back. We're back. We're back. Talking about common transition words today. You may remember from our handy dandy key of super 6 terms from the other day. If you're going to present text evidence, the transition is a key. You transition from the topic sentence to your first piece of evidence. You transition from your first piece of evidence to your second piece of evidence, so on and so forth. You transition from your last piece of evidence to your concluding sentence. So the transition is really key for readers because they can tell, like, oh, we're making a move to this next thing right now. And it gets circled. The transition is circled. So I'm going to do that right now just as a reminder to myself here at the top that in terms of the key, transitions are going to get circled. There's a bunch here, too. A bunch. And they're common. And you'll notice that some of them are phrases, like multi-words, like all things considered. And some of them are just simple, short words that we've used all our life, like, for instance, also. Same idea as yesterday, or the last time we were dealing with a list like this with attributive tags. I want you to go through and just put a check next to the ones you know and circle the ones you don't know. So I'll just help you in case you forgot. As a reminder, you probably think to yourself, like, well, I know the word also. I know what it means to sum up. Not really sure about all things considered. Not really sure about conversely. But I know what lastly means. On the other hand, I know what that means. On the other hand, finally, in brief. But, in addition, in the first place, albeit. It's actually pronounced albeit, but you're probably thinking to yourself, I need to circle that. Maybe you get to the next two, like in spite of this, and you think, I don't know the exact definition of that transition, but I understand when it's being used in spite of this, which is very similar to nonetheless. They're actually similar. But maybe you circled it. I don't know. What do I know? You're doing it, not me. I'm just showing you an example. But I'm going to put up a few minutes here to check out the other ones. In fact, it should only take you maybe 1 minute to go through each of these, maybe even less. So I'm just going to put up 2 minutes to start, and we'll go from there. 2 minutes. Put a check mark next to the words you already know and circle any of these transitions you don't know. Okay, I don't know how you did, because I'm not there, but I bet you what you're probably realizing is you know more of these words than you don't know, which is really helpful. It's just a reminder like, hey, actually I know a lot of these transitions. And these transitions are unique in that a little bit like the attributive tag verbs, these ones are going to get used in very specific situations. But we do need to take a moment to learn a couple of them that we don't know so that we can take the next step, and that's trying to put them in some categories. But you're not going to be able to categorize them if you don't at least research a couple more of them, or at least it'll make your job easier. So down below, you can see that however, which is on the list here. Where is it? Here it is, up here in the third column. However, it's being used as your example down here. And in this case, you need the transition, whichever one you're going to look up, followed by similar transitions, which you will discover by researching that transition and seeing what the synonyms are. That's essentially what similar transitions means. You're looking for synonyms for the word. In this case, by contrast, and on the other hand, are essentially the same thing as saying however, and then you need a To Kill a Mockingbird sentence for that word. You don't have to go and look for it in the book. You're going to make one up out of your head. So in this case, this is not any of Harper Lee's words. These are words by the person who created this. Dill is older than Scout, period. On the other hand, or by contrast, but in this case we're actually using the word, however, Atticus's daughter towers over the summer visitor. Yeah, Dill's short, even though Scout's younger. She's taller. I considered another word. I'm busting out the iPad again. I looked up the word conversely.
Conversely.
On Google, and though it's very definition-y, right below it, somebody asked, what are other words for conversely? And then they offer a bunch of them. I would focus on ones you do know, or at least feel as though you've heard before, like by contrast is on there, just the opposite, in contrast, on the contrary, maybe you know that. And that feels very much like however. So we've got conversely. It means in contrast. On the contrary. And as I look above, I see that however means by contrast, and conversely means in contrast. That's the same thing. So then you could almost lump all of these words as meaning essentially the same thing. Not that I condone cheating, but consider this sentence. Dill is older than Scout. Conversely, Scout is younger than Dill. That seems really obvious. If Dill is older than Scout, then in converse or conversely, Scout is younger than Dill. That may have hurt your head to think about. But it really means, it's the opposite on one hand, and then on the opposite hand. So that's the way transitions work. You are being asked to look up 2 more transitions that you circled, ones you don't know, look them up, research them, and there'll probably be some sharing out and stuff. But in the meantime, you can use your phone, you can use a tablet, you can go back to the good old-fashioned dictionary, but the goal today is to learn 2 new transitions. You got this. Good luck.